The only proof I need from any couple is if you're willing to show up and do the work, have these radically candid conversations that are uncomfortable, that are weird, and stick it out. I don't know. I'd give it like 90% odds and above.
Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Sophie Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero?
I would argue, just like radical transparency for us personally, radical candor is kind of close to how we want to try to live with the people we really care about. You know, I'm working with this couple who have been together a very, very long time, right? They started out when they were 16, relative, right? So they started when they were 16, they're like 37, 36 years old right now. So they've known each other, been together for 20 years, married for like 17 of those, and they're 37 years old, right? So they started really, really young relative to a lot of other couples, and they've stuck it out. Like pretty much every couple, the reason they came to me was because things got really bad and they were on the verge of not making it. And the idea they had when they first started working with me was that I'll help kind of massage their truth so that it works better, right? Like essentially the idea in a way I think, I haven't asked them this directly, but was that things will kind of stay as they have been in terms of the conditions of their life, but we'll just figure out how to talk and communicate better. The problem was they were fully in here on this side where they weren't talking about the things that need to be talked about. And each person felt like if they crossed the path and they moved over to the other side, it would become aggressive and violent, not necessarily physically violent, but, screaming, yelling, threatening. So nobody wanted to move over to the side of making constructive criticism. They just always stuck here. And so I literally got this text from this woman yesterday. She was saying, I feel crazy because I feel like there's so much I want to say to my partner, but so much of it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel loving. It does feel threatening to the relationship. And what I said to her was, well, look, you have to give yourself a little bit of grace. It's only been a little while. And I think I said, like, it's only been like 6 months or a year, or whatever, that you've started kind of training those muscles of talking to somebody else about things that are uncomfortable in ways that are useful. And she goes, oh, no, it hasn't been 6 to 12 months. It's been 1 month since we started working with you. And the reason I assumed it was 6 to 12 months was they had a therapist for 2 years beforehand. So I was assuming, but the other therapist just did this. They were just like sitting in this area right here, just like trying to coddle each other and just be nice to each other. I'm like, oh, fuck no. If you have things you have to get off your chest and you hold them, how many people have been in this position? You've had things you wanted to say, but you haven't felt comfortable saying them, and it starts eating you alive. It creates more anxiety, more stress, more resentment, more pain, more anger. And this is that thing where we like hope that it goes away somehow. But it's killing us. And it definitely kills the relationship if you don't do it. So I said, look, if it's literally been a month, you have to give yourself grace. This stuff has to come out of your mouth first. And then once it comes out, we can work with it and see how it shakes out. If you're willing to stay in the game, as Brene Brown talks about, if you're willing to stay in the arena, odds are you'll come out. Odds are you'll be okay. There'll probably be a bunch of crying, some yelling. Some people are going to be unhappy for days, weeks, hours. But if you're willing to stick it out for a very basic reason, a really, really basic reason, and maybe with this, I can kind of start opening this up. You want to show me you care about somebody personally, stay in the arena with them. I was talking to my Uber driver while I was not thinking he would be an example in anything. I was talking to my Uber driver on the way from the airport 2 nights ago. And we were just talking about relationships and kids. And he was really, I went away to this trip with a client in Italy on a fucking yacht for like 9 days. And I went by myself. And he thought my wife would be like resentful. She's like, oh, he literally said this to me. He goes, you better not show her too many of the pictures from the thing. I'm like, she got videos and pictures the entire time we were there. I go, by the way, my wife was supposed to go on this trip, but she decided that because of the kids' first day of school, she just didn't want to miss it. There was a lot of tension that was going to be with her with the kids, both of us leaving for 9 days. She chose not to go. And he turns to me and he goes, man, you found a good one. We started out on two opposite sides of the same river, and we had to build a bridge over years. She's literally 5 minutes ago, she was showing me she's going to Burning Man without me. Um, and I was like, trust me, it goes both ways. Like, I'm not getting this from her without being able to give it to her. Right. I was supposed to go, and the same thing. I was like, babe, I've been out of the house for 6 weeks straight traveling. I can't fathom packing up another suitcase. I don't care how much fun the party is. I can't do it. I need my bed. My business needs me. Like, there's stuff I got to do. I can't. So as we were talking about this, I asked, he has 2 kids. I asked, are you married? He said, no, man, I tried it. I've been through three marriages. And I didn't say this thing. He's my fucking Uber driver. Like, he doesn't need to hear. I'm not his therapist, but I was like, oh, got it. And I could tell for sure either he or his partner or both of them, they stopped. At some point, they decided, I'm not working on this anymore. And so the only proof I need from any couple is if you're willing to show up and do the work, have these radically candid conversations that are uncomfortable, that are weird, and stick it out. I don't know. I'd give it like 90% odds and above for success. I can still say this, I think. Yeah, I think we can still say this. Sophie and I, like, we've done a bunch of couples retreats, and we've worked with a few dozen couples, like I'd say maybe like 35, 40 couples. We haven't lost a single couple yet. We've had no divorces in any of the couples we've worked with. But there's a reason. I'm not pretending it's only the methods. We make people work hard. And if you can come to one of our things and make it out to the other side, you show commitment, you show the type of work you can do. And so to me, this is the path. It's again, I'll say it for the eighth time in this quick call already. When I was reading this all about business, I was like, this is the exact same thing people go through in their personal relationships at home.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.